Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with episode 2 of the RevoltCast. I am CEO Nick. You already know from last episode.
Alec, Splash, whatever you want to call me, esports, content, a lot of stuff. We got a new face with us this time, though.
We do indeed. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mitchel. I don't really have an official name yet. I'm here to look pretty and be sarcastic. Don't really have an official position just yet.
Well, that was in the job description. Be pretty / sarcastic.
It is.
It wasn't a long description.
He's a sarcastic boy.
It wasn't a long interview either.
Hey, what you doing? Nothing? Cool.
Nice.
But we are here with the official second episode of the podcast. This is going to be going up on Wednesday. I don't know what day that is. It's like the 20-something. So we got
29th?
Yes.
Today's the 25th.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, no, I don't know.
Yeah, this is 29th, right? Whatever, who cares?
We're here for a good time, not a long time. But today we're going to be talking a general bit about content stuff that's planned for the next couple months.
Yeah,
generally.
at least the first month. This is kind of what content is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
The podcast you've already seen. If you've watched the first episode now, then you've seen 2 that are going to be structured something like this. They may not always be at this exact setup. We may have different video sets of, like a 4-camera, one person in each kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends on who's available for the podcast. These first 2 we've done IRL because that's just the easiest way to set it up.
Yep.
We don't really have a worked out. We haven't worked out the setup to record with Discord and all of that. It's definitely possible. We're going to make it happen. Just haven't done it yet. So this is what we're doing this week. Next week it could look different. We've got Groundwork, I think, officially coming.
Groundwork is going to be coming out on this. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to be shift shaping that out. It's either this is going to be coming out Wednesday or this is going to be coming out tomorrow. I think we're planning on doing podcasts on Sunday, uploading on Monday.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have different sets of uploads on Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah, that'll kind of be like a revolving door. We'll see what comes and goes and what actually sticks. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the upload schedule. We're working on that right now, kind of working out the finer details as well, because we have some good stuff in the works. Me and Nick have talked about it a lot, and so we've got some really cool stuff coming up. Just have to figure out what's going up on what week, what can be done weekly, what's going to be like once a month.
I think what we've come to the general consensus of is this podcast right here is definitely going to be great to upload every single week. It's just...
Yeah, it should be every Monday, unless, we get taken out by a hurricane or something.
Oh, God, please, no.
Not like this.
Not like this. Oh, no. Hopefully, we do have some members who are all across the country, so I'm hoping to bring them on as well. That's going to be fantastic, just to get some different viewpoints. This is like, wink!
I mean, that's part of the struggle of setting up, like video recording and stuff is you have to worry about connections and Discord cutting in and out and that kind of thing if we're going to use Discord for it. So it is a little nerve-wracking, but it can work, and we've done similar things before. We'll figure it out.
It's not the hairiest thing we've ever done. We've done some pretty...
We've done some stupid stuff.
Some pretty hairy stuff.
We really have. Like,
We can use everybody's favorite and most dependable platform, Omegle.
Let's just go across Omegle. Let's see how well that turns out for us.
We just have specific search words, and it works out.
That would actually not be a bad idea for a video. I might have to do that.
Forgot to mention our OnlyFans account.
OnlyFans.
Every Saturday.
$20 a month, come on.
It's a steal.
Yeah, right. But along that, so content-wise, not only that, we're definitely looking for some great individuals to bring along with this project. We have our eyes set on a couple of people, but waiting to see how that pans out, because we're not just trying to pull a previous org that shall not be named and just get every single person that breathes on the project.
Yeah, so back to what Nick was saying.
Before we were really...
Before our light got tipped over by something.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we're just going to skip past it and act like it wasn't a demon, because it clearly was, but if you acknowledge them, you give them power. So
Please eat my ass, demons.
Please eat my spirits. But we do have a few people that we're looking at for content, and we don't know necessarily how fast that's going to move along, because you have to kind of vet people. You can't just bring on
every single
person, like we said before.
We have to talk to them. We have to interact with them. We have to make sure that their ideologies sort of align with ours, because that's like the biggest thing that you'll run into, especially with esports. There are some people with a certain agenda, some that's perfectly fine, understandable. We all want to be famous on this. That's why everybody does this. Well, not everybody. Some people.
It's not necessarily about being famous. It's about the success. Everybody wants to be good at what they're doing. Some people just only want to be good because of the money and the notoriety and those things.
The enjoyment of the content is the biggest thing. That's the base at the very end of the day. That's why we started it. That's why most people hopefully start this originally. It's just because it's fun. You see somebody else do it and you're like, oh my god, I want to do that. Like, I started this back in 2009, 10. Oh god. I had a Pinnacle. Those SD cards. Oh man, I had to play.
Yeah.
Dude, I had to play off not this laptop, but another laptop I used to have at Dell, and I would have to play off the preview screen, and it was like a 2-second delay. So I would move for controller and be like, I was like, oh my god.
I'll do you one better. My first montage was made using a DVD recorder, and I transferred the individual movie files off of a DVD disc onto the computer, and it took forever. They were, especially back then, like the transfer speeds were not good.
Oh yeah.
But the quality maintained 1080p the whole time, and so I refused to go get like a Dazzle or something back in the day. I was like, this takes 13 hours to move 4 clips, but that's fine. It'll just take me a week to get everything on the computer. That's okay. And then on like day 7 of doing that, I was just like,
end my suffering. End it all.
Because I can't record more at the time. I only had the one disc to use, and it had to be in the computer to transfer it. I'm just like, hour 7, hour 8, hour 9, hour 12. It's like
128 hours.
Literally, it was awful. It was so bad. But the clips did come out really well, and had a lot of fun making them. And then I gave up entirely because no one, even in high school, like I didn't have the time to sit around for like 30-something hours a week and just watch.
Clip.
Yeah, like
Clip.
0.2 megs, 0.3 megs, 0.4 megs. Because they were like 100 gigs each, like every time you moved something, and naturally. So I could move like 4 clips, put them in, render them down to one 2 or 3 meg file, and then start over again. And I mean, yeah, it was the absolute Stone Age. Like, might as well have just had like just discovered fire, but a torch in my room. Like that's about how well it was going.
Oh god.
Confused Unga Bunga.
Confused Unga Bungas.
I mean, we've seen some.
We've been around.
Yeah, we've been around to see it all.
It's so wild to see how the content horizon has just like changed over the course, going from around Call of Duty was like a really pushed the scene. Actually, let me rephrase that. Halo, and then it went into Call of Duty. And now it's like spread its branches throughout so many different scenes. It's amazing. Oh, frag movies back in the day. Oh my god, they still like. There are montages nowadays that still don't compare to frag movies from like 10 years ago. It's insane.
Absolutely. Was the Paradox Play with Soul? That whole, I remember seeing that, whatever that was, 8 or 9 years ago now, just being like, who? What?
It was so ahead of its time. It's outrageous to think how well, like...
It's insane to watch. And then you have, like, Grizz in The Matrix. I think Hector just made a joke about, like, he ran off of a wall in The Matrix and, like, did a backflip. And it's like, you still can't do that in Call of Duty. And we had wall running.
Now that you bring that up, I remember watching Grizz for the first time, like, back in, like, 2009. I saw him, like, the Matrix montage, and I was like, what is this man doing? He did not just no-scope someone across the... What? And
he just shot C4 out of the air.
Bro,
like, what?
The first time I saw that, you still don't see people do that nowadays. It is absolutely ludicrous to see that. Like, I get so excited over it, because the Matrix
2003 Atlanta ludicrous.
See, I that's why I spent so long trying to do such dope montages, but then I was like, triple feeds, yeah.
Yay, I got one.
Yeah.
Yay.
I got a
12-year-old in his chair just like, Mom, I did it. Mom.
I used to get so hooked. I'd be like, yo, let's go! And especially one of our first plays was like PS3 on Call of Duty 4, because I hadn't gotten 360 at that point yet. And oh my god, I would just put on the ACOG, steady aim. I wouldn't quick scope. I didn't know what quick scoping was. All I knew was the no scope. I did the stop, let the crosshairs come back. G-shot, there we go.
G-shot.
Oh my god, that was legendary. You see people do that, you'd be like, what is he doing? This man's a madman.
Also, wrapping back around, I don't have the ability to do the kid voice anymore. I just realized. I can't go high enough, so I got to like, hey, and it just didn't, yeah. Yeah, I tried to go that far, but I got to like, probably like mid-puberty level. It's just like, hey.
Oh, take it puberty back. Struck twice.
But that's how I felt, like 12, 13 years old playing like Halo and COD, and every time you did something nice, you just, Mom! And it really is like,
get the potatoes!
Looking for my brother, like, where did he go? How did he miss that? I just did the best thing ever.
Then you go to theater, you're like, look at this.
You look back and it's a terrible clip.
The only question how like a game as old as Halo 3 has one of the best theater systems, and nobody else has been able to somehow do that yet. BO2 had a pretty good theater system. Not as crisp as
even like BO4 just didn't nail it. Completely missed it.
Dude, still makes no sense. Still baffles my mind how Halo 3 is one of the greatest games of all time. Nobody will ever beat
multiplayer ranking, theater, forge mode,
it was again ahead of its time. That's why everybody loved it. Still loves it for like 10 plus years. Man, I want to play Halo 3 now. Son of a bitch.
Well, fun fact, I think we have that laying around somewhere.
We do. It's right over there.
I mean, they definitely put the entire FPS market behind. Like, even games that came after, in the immediate wake of it, were trying to catch up to what it was doing. And now, 10 years later, we see just how ineffective even trying to do that was, because people made changes to try to be more like Halo 3. Call of Duty has never figured out a ranking system that worked as effective as the 1 through 50. People say Black Ops 2, best ranking system ever. I remember playing Black Ops 2 12 hours a day and somehow being stuck and not being able to get into Masters, even though I was winning every game by like, multiple caps, 20, 30 kill games, hard points with 40 and 50 kills. And it took me until like 2 or 3 months left of the game to get into Master for one season and then get stuck again in
Platinum. I think that's
Plat was the ranking.
That got so aggravating.
Yeah, and Brian lost a game after making it to Masters for the first time in his placements. Like, won one game out of his placements, back in Masters. And I was like, I've been playing for 6 months, nonstop.
It's like, why you gotta do this to me?
Better than him at certain points of that game as well, and just never made the climb until, like, it didn't matter anymore. Like, pretty much everybody had stopped playing, and I was like, why? And then in World War II, great at that game. Could contend with just about any player in that game. Was stuck in like silver just because teammates would leave, and there would be no recomp for that.
That gets so aggravating.
I can't win every game 3v4. I won a lot of them 3v4, but I can't win all of them. And then I finally got to gold midway through the season, and then like that same week, the servers just wouldn't let me connect to anybody. Couldn't do anything. Season runs out. Like, okay, whatever. That's fine. I'll get back to gold. Got placed at like just out of bronze inside of silver, and it was like, okay, this.
Servers are still...
It's been a decade. We're still trying to play catch-up to games that were doing this,
10
perfectly.
Years ago, 12 years ago. CSGO's been around for how long? Or CS
has been around, but CSGO... What's that, 2010? Something like that?
I think something
like it came out on 360 as well. When it came
out. That was a... Never play that game. Never play that game.
I think I ended up getting it for free somehow, and I was like, okay, let's try this. Counter-Strike's cool, and I took like 2 steps forward and was like, oh, never mind. Nope.
Whoever did the port of that game should never touch another game again. That was a disgrace to gaming. Oh, actually, there was another port to another game I couldn't think of, but it was like, gosh, oh my god.
Remember when like porting out like major like AAA studio games down to like the DS was a thing?
Call of Duty 4, DS. Ooh.
Black Ops 1 I think had it as well. It was like Decoded or something like that.
I never played it.
Yeah, it's just, why were we trying to do this?
I don't know. They were trying to... That market, the handheld market, still pretty...
Like, the mobile games market, like, can definitely sustain itself. Like it has a good fan base. People love it. But an idea like Call of Duty was just never going to work on it.
They had a mobile. I'll never forget. Whenever they came out with the nerding out a little bit over Resident Evil, they came out with Resident Evil Degeneration, which was the one with Leon in the airport. They came out with a mobile game. So I think if you think back to like the old like solid black LG flip phones or even like the Sidekicks, so that far back, they had mobile phone games where you could play Resident Evil on your phone, and it was pure 100% cancer. Not only were you not going to hit anything, you weren't going to be able to progress because you wouldn't be able to move. It was so bad.
Horrible.
It was so bad.
Good God, I couldn't imagine like a phone. No,
they did it with Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus too.
Oh God.
Yeah.
No.
I like Dirge of Cerberus. What, the PS2? I like Dirge of Cerberus.
No, mobile phones.
Oh no.
They did it on mobile.
They did.
And like Dirge of Cerberus was okay, but wow,
Who would think of that?
cutscene the game, the mobile game.
I swear to God, it's like they're at the end of their budget. They're like, all right, we got $20. What else can we do?
So we ended up having $2,000 left. Should we hire these two random guys off the street to come code our mobile game? Who are you? I'll take that as a yes.
Know that you're hired like AAA. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like literally some like out of touch, just like 80-year-old studio exec that was like, mobile game.
I was here during Pong.
The Velociraptor.
What do you do here?
Get the same people who made the freaking Lion King game on Sega Genesis.
No. You let it die. We're going to start talking about E.T. too, the extraterrestrial. There's a landfill somewhere that's like quaking.
One just shot into the air every time somebody mentions this game.
E.T. phone. No!
And one guy is just watching it erupt. Is like, not again. Who's talking about it?
Season 3 of Stranger Things is just going to be an E.T. extraterrestrial game.
What if they actually did do that? Oh my God.
Mike walks outside, finds E.T. on his porch. She's like, I don't understand. Suddenly raining E.T. the video game.
No!
No!
And I think with like such a wide background that we got, that's what one of the benefits of us, or one of the benefits of us, like whenever we're going to be looking for people, because we know what to look for, because we've been around. We've been around the block.
Circling the conversation back together.
Yep.
We have literally been playing games my entire life. Been watching the business of esports for a decade plus now.
It's so interesting how that has transformed into what it is, and also sort of depressing in some cases.
In some ways, I guess.
Cases, yeah.
But what really, I think my first like bite into esports was I knew about Halo 2 LG tournaments and stuff like that. I'd heard about it. But the first time that I really like sat down and was like, oh, I need to get in on whatever this is. Do you remember, was it Arena on G4? Well, they used to host like the Unreal Tournament, like 4v4 or 5v5 games, whatever they were.
I don't know. I didn't really keep up with Unreal Tournament that much.
It was just like Arena would have players on, and they'd showcase these show matches essentially. And I remember seeing that, and I think Kevin Pereira ended up.
Oh, G4 TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be Tech
X-Play.
TV.
Yeah.
X-Play, dude. X-Play was a goated.
I mean, X-Play, that stuff was like absolutely monumental for the movement, Attack of the Show, X-Play, all of those things. But I think it was Arena was what it was called, and the guy that used to host it was like a kind of burly white guy, and I remember them presenting. It was like, hey, we've got the red team over here, blue team over here, and over here all these players. You know, I don't know if they were actual teams. It's been so long now that I couldn't recall the details. But they could have just been 5 random players matched up and given some cash to come play at the center or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing it and just being like, what? You can do this? You can just be on TV for playing video games? Bet.
Right.
Like, I'll go jump on Halo 2 and start grinding. Like, let's do it. Or whatever. But then Call of Duty came around, and that really
changed landscape.
Yeah, it just kicked me into the abyss. I was like, oh, no, I'm really going to do this. And then I didn't necessarily, make it so far as a competitor or anything because, didn't have any money, couldn't travel.
Mm-hmm. You could put all the time in the world on it, but having...
And it was underage, so, like, once they made the changes over to, like, you have to be 18 to play.
Yeah.
I think it was... originally you could be like 14 with a parent waiver or something like that, but then they made the ruling, maybe in BO2, that you had to be 18 to participate at champs. And so after that, it was kind of like, no young players are making it out of, this like hell of other people trying to, to get known.
That whole, like, even right now, the selection is still pretty gruesome.
It's still hard. You have to be a simp or a Celium or somebody like that to even stand out amongst the crowd anymore. And it certainly wasn't that back in the day, not quite yet. But there was still competition back then that, like, when I look back on it, I'm like, how did some of these guys not make it? And I think that's what makes a pretty good analyst in me is I've played with people who should have been there. I know what that looks like. And never managed myself to get out there, but that was never really, after like age 16 or 17, that was never really the goal. After that, I was consigned to like, if I can play GB tournaments or something like that and just have fun and compete and maybe do content or something like that, then absolutely. Like, that's where I would love to be. I don't necessarily want the 7-day, 12-hour grind.
Yeah, that gets...
Like, that, you could see it even in the players that are doing well. Like, in the off-season, they're wearing down and just, like, they need a whole another, like, 6 months to recoup from the fact that they just spent every day inside grinding for however many months.
Hours.
Nuts.
Hours. Like, it's... Like, if you think, like, compared to other sports, like, other sports, you can probably go about, like, 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6 a day is pretty tiring just in general.
Yeah, you do like 2 3-hour practices or 2 4-hour practices or broken up, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, however you're going to do it.
But with this,
with video games, it's like you get on and you warm up by yourself and then you scrim with your team and then you continue to play tournaments and wagers and things like that throughout the night if you're in Call of Duty. And Rocket League, there's people that are just trying to constantly scrim. People get on at like 2 p.m. and don't get off till 2 a.m. and I'm like,
it's tough. Like, and I mean, it's not in cases it's not as physically demanding, but mentally it's stressful, especially like on
your hands, your eyes. After 2 weeks of doing that every day,
your brain's mush.
Your brain is just you need to take the.
It's sort of like doing chess like 12 hours a day. Like at a point you're just sort of like.
If I have to move another chess piece today, I'm literally just going to break this entire board. Yeah. It's just middle of the game.
And that's like...
Flip the table.
And that's also a big difference, too. Like, one of it's physical, but, like, in the gaming scene, it's really, really mental. Like, your mental, like, aptitude in multiple cases and endurance has to be...
Yeah, and that's even in content. Like, if you're a live streamer...
Oh, so much.
To stand out right now, you have to be playing, like, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
If you want to be like a montage maker or a Fortnite player.
Yeah, and the standards for montages now are so crazy that like you maybe not have to play 12 to 14 hours a day, but you're taking 6 months to make a montage if you're not, because these other guys are hitting like Kitty, Pamaj, Sprat, these dudes that are like leading in Call of Duty. Yeah, the natural talent means they're going to hit things twice as fast as you are, if not faster than that. And in other games, okay, maybe the skill gap isn't quite the same. You've got guys like Musty and Rocket League who can just they figured out incredible ways to bend the game to like with the Musty flick. You do that enough times, you've got a montage. Like people are going to watch it. Okay, cool. But he had to put in the time to learn how to do that. In CS, I've seen like ranked montages and things. Those games are long. Like you can't just put in 30 of those a day. Like no, you've got like
maybe
10, 7 to 10 I think would be like the max range.
Because each one, like if they go 15 round limits 16
yes.
Yeah, because it's 30 rounds in total, 16 you win. Yeah, there's some people who will go like 16 like 15-16 like just
if you have 2 of those matches a day, how many more are you going to be able to physically play?
Yeah, because you're there for forever. It's sort of like doing a Smite game.
And Smite's kind of the same way. League of Legends, the MOBA scene in general, their games can last from 15 minutes because you've steamrolled a lead, or it could be an hour and a half and someone's just kind of like dancing around an objective waiting for someone to mess up. Like
at that point, like once you get to like the hour and a half, like even like eventually 2 hours, you have to be like that one small detail that gets missed.
Yeah, and if you're even in content creating in those games, we've seen guys like Nightblue come in and like smurf and just absolutely destroy. Okay, sure, that you can do that, but the way he opted to do it now, at least, is through streaming. He's putting on that performance, that character of Nightblue, literally like every day, I mean, he took a break recently, but he was doing it for, I think, 12 hours or something like that.
Is like
that's a whole other type of taxation and just mental capacity that you have to have. And people think it's easy, and it's really not. Like, it's super not easy.
No, and that's like that's such a big important thing to do is have good personality, good scheduling in real life and on like content creator schedule wise too, and just have like the passion. Because if that passion's not there, like that's why a lot of people who are like, yeah, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna get famous and I'm gonna be like, ooh, bam, money. Within like a couple of months, they're just like, yeah, I just don't want to.
It's the people you see tweeting at 2 a.m. like, man, I'm just tired of seeing people with more viewers than me in my stream. And I'm like, well,
unfortunate.
It takes a hot minute there, brother.
It's like, I get, okay, cute, you've been streaming for 6 months. I understand. That's a grind. Some of these guys have been doing it for 5 years already.
I mean, Ninja took him.
Yeah, he was
7-8 years until
he made a career out of competitive Halo anyway. So he was succeeding there, and streaming was just kind of like this backup source of income. And then Fortnite happens, and obviously he goes sky high. And there's a lot of people who are trying to do things like that. But that, just to add on to the competing side of things, like that's another thing you have to worry about. Am I going to place well enough this year, or am I going to be salaried well enough this year to make a living off of doing this, or do I need to stream and try to build a fan base and work and leverage all this out? Which is why organizations like FaZe and Optic were just naturally at a head start, particularly now that some of them are coming to the later parts of their career. Like, if Seth was to retire, and there's rumors right now that he's going to go to NV for the CDL spot, so that's pretty interesting in and of itself. But if that falls through and he says, this is my last year, I'm done. Or Karma saying that he's going to coach if they're playing on console because he doesn't want to deal with the Cronus another year.
Don't blame him.
Coming into Optic, even though he wasn't a founding member, Damon's going to sit back and he has a gold mine of people who are willing to follow him and watch him on YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, wherever he decides to go, like whatever he wants to do.
I think he does Twitch. He's been starting to go a little bit into Minecraft.
Yeah, he's been playing and streaming a bunch over the last 3 or 4 years. And he's earned, into that. He's definitely taken the time to build out content. But if he was to say tomorrow that that's his full-time focus, that's a life completely outside of competing. Like he doesn't have to worry about the other stuff. Cool, he could just go full-time into streaming and it would be like nothing ever happened.
Such a bagging. Like it would be a lot less stress probably too. Like this is like doing competitive and doing Twitch streaming and everything too. Plus he has his family.
Yeah, and that's another whole other kind of stress that you have to worry about.
I couldn't imagine doing all those at the same time.
But there are some guys who are rookies, in their respective games, whether it's Counter-Strike or League or whatever, that are going to come into teams that aren't doing that. They're not making the effort to establish the personalities outside of, hey, this guy's really good at League of Legends or really good at Counter-Strike, or Rocket League seems to be doing pretty well. Like G2 kind of leading, I think, in that space of just being like,
G2's doing very
here's a lot of really cool personality checks, essentially. You get to interact with the team on, through the comments and stuff. They try to do a good job of handling those kinds of things.
Cloud9's been doing pretty well with it too. Of course, they have a gigantic personality with Squishy, so they sort of
Squishy became the face after Kronovi, really. I mean,
it seems like he's probably going to be there for a hot minute because
and
his skill cap just keeps.
He's arguably the best 1v1 player right now in the world, as far as, even if it's not in the 1v1 playlist. If you're in an RLCS match and he's driving directly at you, you're probably the most worried that it's Squishy coming down the field at you.
Yeah, because
there's some good players, but the things that he's pulled off, he just beats people to the punch so many times. He's the first person to do so many things on LAN, or the first person to do them in an effective way. Somebody might pull them off. He's going to pull them off leading to a goal.
Yep.
Like, it's kind of just how it goes. In that same, vein of conversation, if you don't have that, if you're on a team that didn't do that for you, you still do have to worry. Like, you're competing 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day. And then you get off and you're like, well, that was great. I hope we don't get knocked out first round and come home with
nothing.
A tenth of the prize pool.
That's that stress.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that people don't see.
And just be like, commercial break.
Yeah, that's fine.
Drink G Fuel. We love you, G Fuel. Sponsor us. Please.
We have so much.
We really do. We should
There's
actually.
Entire pyramid right up there.
We should move that pyramid down here next time. That would be awesome.
So what I used to do for the 100-point club.
That'd be a smart idea. Okay, G Fuel. Just let you know we love
right
you.
Now, I'm about it.
I mean, if you want to take him, if y'all want to take him in and move it down.
So say we can plug. We can give a shit.
Plug. We are back. Sorry for the random commercial break. So what had happened was the camera turned off, and then we did a set change. So if you can't tell, we really like G Fuel. So if you want, they got a 30% going on right now. What was that? Oh, that was a magician's trick right there.
It's like when they pull everything off the table, the cloth, and just it's all there. This time we just took the whole thing and we're just like, and take the table and
Bean boozle. Bean boozle.
Bean boozle. We can do that shit.
We could.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that'd be fun. So if y'all want to, go check out G Fuel at gfuel.com. We absolutely love G Fuel. It tastes wonderful and all natural products. And again, they have 30% off codes going on right now with all the SOAR people. I think it's just in general like codes.
I saw the SOAR code battle for sure. So
it's a SOAR code battle, yeah, like Astro, Jedi,
Nitro, Mac, Nitro,
yeah,
and do I know any more off the top of my head? I should.
They've kept me out of jail twice now, just from the caffeine, so it's great.
Honestly, yeah, like that's not wrong.
General flavors are absolutely wonderful, and they have a plethora of different options, if you can't tell, from sour cherry, peach iced tea, strawberry shortcake, lemonade. No affiliation with Nate anymore. R.I.P. That was fun. Cotton candy, tropical rain, and cherry limeade. My personal favorite is probably both the peach mango and cherry limeade because absolutely wonderful flavors. It doesn't, smack you in the face.
Actually, can I try some of that cotton candy?
Fuck yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you.
Am I drunk, or is the row of 3 off center?
I mean, that's very possible.
Wait.
I'm bothered.
I
don't know if my big ass head was blocking the camera or not, but that's cotton candy G Fuel. We can't. I don't recommend this.
This is not.
This
No.
is the exact opposite of what they advertise.
Wait. This is.
Oh, I should put it in a shaker. You're right.
I'm so nettled right now.
Better you think of it first, pumpkin.
It's not even using a G Fuel shaker.
It's fine. It's A-okay. Wait, should we do ASMR? Just...
G Fuel.
I regret my decisions.
Drink it.
Or don't.
You know, that makes the bourbon so much more bearable. I mean, that makes the apple cider so much more bearable.
This is a Twitter clip.
I don't need this coaster anymore either, because those don't sweat.
Shit got out of hand so fast.
Oh god, I miss being home.
Oh man.
Where were we at in this?
I don't know.
You were talking about SOAR people who had affiliations with...
Oh yeah, with the code and everything. Yeah, there's that.
I've been drinking. Why don't you remember this?
Sorry,
so I'm tilted now.
You want to try some? I'm gonna shake. It settles every now and then.
I don't like shaking bourbon.
It's just shaking nuts stir.
Oh no. Oh, absolutely not. Okay. Oh, why would you do this to me?
Why? Wait. Well, first of all,
I don't recommend.
You all have FC now. Congrats.
I had A and B, so.
I'm confused. Go away. It's not.
Theorem of Hebb. Now I have the Pythagorean theorem of Hebb.
What just occurred?
I get it.
Because we're talking about content.
Okay, let's just whatever we were talking about before is dead. That's guaranteed.
It died in the fire.
Um,
Social media.
I would say we have some events planned with the community that I think we can't really disclose yet. We haven't gotten all of that set up.
In a couple months, hopefully by next semester, for if we're going school year time, around probably January, February, hopefully.
Yeah, I would think within the next 4 to 5 months it'll all be planned out. Whether it actually happens in that time period, we'll figure it out. But even this early, we're trying to figure out ways to kind of establish goodwill in the community and
showcase that we're not just...
Yeah, showcase that we're here to help in any way. There is a community for esports here in town, even though it is a smaller university area. You know, it's
not
the main draw for esports is the fact that it's a university town. That's why we have so many people who are into it here. There's an esports club at Murray State University, which is the nearest town, or the nearest college to us. And so if we can get involved there and help out in some way, then great. Like, we'd love to work there. There's some places around town. Not going to name drop anything yet, so we don't, mention anybody who would not be down for something like that. But we're going to do the work at least to reach out and try to work something out, try to do something nice for the community, host a tournament or do something like that.
Be absolutely wonderful. Get some...
we'll provide food, the prize pool, maybe merch giveaways, things like that when we have all that in, which that's why 4 to 5 months is the more reasonable goal, because we have to get all that taken care of first.
Settling everything out is doing business, like esports wise, it does take a good couple months.
Yeah,
we're trying to juggle
that's a good
things.
thing. And
yeah.
It's like any startup, it needs time, unless it's just
to-
like the hottest idea of all time. It's going to...
Heart of Thieves. Second time around.
But even that, yeah, like it was made into the best idea because you went and got the best people to make it the best idea. First time around, they had no business launching in COD and picking up Nelson's team. That was not a good idea. The first jerseys looked like prison uniforms. It was not...
I love how they've transformed from their clothing back then, RIP, to what they are now, which is outstanding.
I mean, they're the best in the world right now. It's no question, in my opinion. At least in this space, I don't think anyone's doing it better. There's the Liquid Marvel collaboration, which is fucking just amazing. There's nothing to say about that other than top tier. But as far as consistent, just everyday clothing, 100T smashed the market. Everyone else was just kind of sitting there and watching them run past them. Have you ever played baseball and just seen somebody who's just 3 times faster than you? It's like you're running for a ball. You're like, I can get this guy out. I can throw him out. Yeah, I got it. And he's home. And
wait. Barry Allen, what are you doing over there?
Play baseball with the Flash. Like,
I mean, he does play in the show.
That would make that just unfair.
He does like community games with the Central City Police Department. It's a struggle. He's like trying not to use his powers the whole time. It's just kind of like jogging out. So he gets thrown out like every game. They're like, "Wow, Barry, you really suck." And in his head, he's like, "Okay."
he's actually lapping home plate 3 times for every throw.
Ball leaves the guy's hand. He just steals a base. He's like,
Wait.
I don't understand. No, you were just... I have questions. But, so trying to do things that aren't just in the interest of growing a business. It's trying to do things that show that we're here to work with esports in general. I can't talk right now. But to establish that we try to help wherever we can. We're not just trying to blow up as a group of creators. That's fine. That'd be great to happen. But along the way, we want to help more people than how we help ourselves, I guess is the way to say it. You want to make a living out of this. Everybody would love to. We wouldn't be doing it if we didn't enjoy it.
It's just going about the right ways.
Yeah, you have to go about it the right ways, and I think part of that is give back to what you're trying to get. Like you're taking a lot from gaming if you're getting paid from it. If you're having people watching you play games or liking your content or whatever, that you have to at least in some way return that love back into the world. That's just kind of how I feel about it.
Keep the circle going. It's like the circle of life, only gaming.
And the more that it grows, the more people that get into it, it's a net gain for everybody involved in the space. So even if people aren't really that invested into it, but we take a tournament to a local, shop or something and be like, hey, we've got the TV, whatever, we can provide a Switch, we can provide whatever, if it's like Smash or if it's Halo, if we've got an Xbox, we've got PlayStations, we can do these kinds of things. Would you be interested in it? If we get one person to say, yeah, sure, let's try it, and then we introduce 2 people that aren't familiar with esports into it, then we just changed 2 people, to look at this path in some, whether they stay on as longtime fans of, esports or us or gaming in general, it doesn't really matter. It's just about bringing the opportunity to them, because without a company like MLG or without Steam that runs Counter-Strike and Dota, or not Steam, but Valve.
Valve, yeah.
Without people like that who are really pushing these things to the forefront, would have never come into my circle. I really wouldn't have known about competitive gaming if it wasn't for Sundance and Adam Apicella, Walshy, people who were really just huge ambassadors of...
Game changers.
Yeah, literal game changers. And I think if you can do that, even on the smallest level, then if you're taking something out of this space, it's your place that you have to give something back. And I think guys like Timper from FaZe, but he was really the guy at the forefront. I know the ownership's kind of been spread out
a little bit
of FaZe. It's different people lead different things now. But back in the day when FaZe was blowing up, he did a really good job of making sure the community felt like they were a part of that growth, and it wasn't just this one team absorbing all the attention and money in the world. And then Nadeshot's been doing it more recently with 100 Thieves. Hector's been great about giving back to the Green Wall and those people that have been supporting Optic. And you've seen that mentality grow as well. I'm not as familiar with just like the League-only brands or the Dota-only brands or Counter-Strike only. If you cross over into other sports, chances are I'm more aware of what's going on. But for the people that are only dominating their one space, I'm not super familiar with what they've done, but I have seen the results on my timeline and stuff. People being like, hey, Liquid reached out and there was a giveaway or something like that. Or more recently, I've become a huge fan of TSM's efforts to be like including their community and make sure that they're talking to, when the Fortnite guys blew up, there was like an open line for, I think they did on Twitter, where it was like, you have a 12-hour window where you can ask any question and we'll get a member of TSM Fortnite to answer it. It was like, awesome. And they try to do things like that, and I'm like, even if it's that small, you're still trying to make people feel included and make sure that they feel noticed in esports and feel like that it could be viable for them and that they want to stick around. And
that's how you grow your community, that's how you grow the esports community, and that's how you change the landscape all in general, because there's a lot of people who...
There are people who are looking for personal gain. There are people who just aren't promoting the right things. And I think that's why we see so many, particularly in Call of Duty, which I reference it so much because that's our background. That's
it really is.
Particularly where I pay the closest attention. We've seen so many orgs come in and wash out because they're only in it for themselves.
Yep.
And there's people who haven't paid their players. There are people who lied to their players about how much they could pay them. You have people from like 2010 who still haven't paid out like $400 debts from when it was that small. Like,
see, that's just...
Yeah.
But it's awesome to see, like, just like you said, the bigger orgs coming in and making the difference. Cloud9, Liquid, LG.
And every time one of those orgs enters into a new space, anytime that, like, when Rocket League was just on its cusp of blowing up, having an org come in and be like, oh, like TSM, come in and be like, oh, yeah, we are a stable member of this community now. That kind of attention doesn't just go unnoticed. And I think Cloud9 did it with Call of Duty a little bit. When they came in, that was the same wave of I guess it was Ghost to BO3 era, where we saw a bunch of bigger teams that were just kind of like taking short stays in Call of Duty. EG came in and left and came back and is leaving again. Which, I mean, with franchising time coming around, that's expected. I don't expect them to stay around if they're not.
TSM was around for a season, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, actually. I think it was Lacefield or somebody on that?
I think so. It was I think it was BO3, because I remember it was they were against Optic.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did field a roster. And then Ghost Gaming most recently was in, and then with Spacely, and they fielded a roster. That was really cool to see. Like, they weren't super native to the COD scene, from my knowledge, so seeing them get involved, and they had like a really nice house out there that was really cool.
All these content houses are absolutely like wonderful too.
Yeah, that's just end goal stuff, man. That's so many people killing it and winning off of esports and then living like that.
Yes.
Oh man.
Even if it's just like a small, like I've seen somebody with like a smaller house, like, you know, we got like a 3-bedroom house, 1-story, perfectly fine. It's still freaking awesome. Like,
yeah, it's so incredible that they're making it happen off of just this little
small scene, man.
Yeah, like kind of, it's blown up a lot in the last couple of years, but in reality, esports is still on its way to becoming the juggernaut that it can be.
It's still in this bubble, and a lot of people talk about the bubble all the time, like what's going to happen when it pops, what's going to be the changes to the
esports is not a huge rise right now, it's going to break. And I'm like, you've never been more
not that kind of bubble where it's going to like implode on itself, but it's going to like everything about it is going to change.
Yeah,
it's going to set it's on its
and everything. Yeah, it's in like a mediating phase. There's it's players like forming agencies and that kind of thing, like trying to defend themselves, which is a brand new movement, really.
Thank God.
People at Call of Duty were trying to do it a couple of years ago, and I think that even ran for a while. I think there's 4Play and a few other people where like appointed champions of the community that would work with MLG and try to get things settled out.
Make sure everything's done right and correct, which is...
Yeah, and I think that's super needed because we've seen in other sports when the people making the decisions absolutely try to just get away with murder on, whether the money or the availability. Like the MLG contracts from before where you could only stream on MLG TV should have never been a thing. That should never have happened. Yeah, people were saying like, oh, you didn't have to sign one of them. You kind of did. Like they kind of strong-armed the entire industry in that move. Yeah. And so people went for it, and then we saw that it turned out disastrously. Probably one of 2 or 3 bad moves ever that LG has made, but that one stands out to me as like, how did that ever get through? How did we ever get this?
Whoever was the runner of the personal part of the live streaming side probably just...
I'm sure there was some kind of good intention there. I'm sure there was some kind of like, let's unify everybody under one banner so we can all grow as a unit. It didn't work that way.
No,
people weren't getting the same attention that they were getting on Twitch. From what I heard, the money wasn't the same as they were getting before. So those kind of moves we don't necessarily need to see come back, but that's important things to learn. Like I say, we're in a transitionary phase, so
history.
The next time that comes up and somebody's like, if it's ESL, it's like, well, we want to have only ESL content, so we're going to go sign 19 people right out of the gate to stream only under our brand.
Heard apparently there's been a whole debacle, I don't know, controversy recently with the Boston major or a major for CSGO. Apparently somebody's like trying to like have the streaming rights for it. There's been a whole big situation on that. Like people are getting flagged like on their Twitch and everything, like getting shut down, or their Twitter, YouTube. It's something I need to double check into, but it's not pretty scene right now. Somebody's trying to do all that again.
I hadn't seen that, so yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
But those are the kind of things that we're facing right now, and there are people who are going to try to capitalize like that, where it hurts the players. And if we can do anything at all to contribute to helping against that, then
that's the biggest thing. Yeah, like, we have to make sure to promote positivity and good virtues. There we go.
Yeah, it's just good practices. Don't fall, to the wayside. Don't go into shady business deals. Don't promise people things that you can't actually give them.
And that's one of the things I made sure whenever I wrote down our business plan, career objectives, our mission statement. There we go. Is to make sure to pursue everything with a positive mindset, no negative like ideologies, and sort of just generally like, just exactly as you've been saying.
Just operate with integrity.
Integrity, there we go.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and go.
But that's one thing we're going to take step by step to make sure before we go into the esports scene, because the esports nowadays, you have to have the money. That or you have players who are like, I would like to play under you all, and we can work some out.
Yeah, we'll figure that out kind of thing.
That's going to take a while.
As far as for us specifically, that'll be a minute in development, because there are a lot of things that we have to have done before then. You want player contracts. You want to protect yourself and the players correctly. So
I just want everything done where everybody's just happy at the end of the day and like, oh my god, look at this team. Oh my god, this is
amazing. Look at them doing everything right. And it may look like it's coming on slowly, and that's because it is. But it's still coming on. It's still going to happen. So.
Rather take it slowly than just jump right out of the gate
and then fall flat on your face because you weren't ready for it, or you had a deal that, let's say the 80-20 thing with FaZe and Turner, where FaZe never intended to capitalize on taking 80% of Tfu's earnings, but they had the opportunity to. That's the kind of thing that you really want to stay away from, especially as a small org, because nobody would have survived that like FaZe did if they were, a 10K follower org. You're going to get murdered out of the spotlight. The player's going to become bigger than the whole team, and then it's just
downhill spiral.
See ya, bye. But FaZe operating with like, oh, well, we never even took that. We barely took like anything out of that, and in fact, we brought deals to him. Them having the counter evidence and saying like, we were strong enough to say, here is our boon to you. Here's a gift to you, or here's a thing that you couldn't have gotten on your own, but we used the reach of the org to bring to you. Sure, it's not pretty and all of the fallout and all of that, but the response from it, the immediate like, yeah, we get it. The contract was absolutely screwed, but we were trying to work on a new contract. We brought him more money. We never intended to take any of that away. He's had control of it the whole time. Those kind of things, I think, that's how prepared you have to be. That's how protected you have to be. It's like, even if you do screw up, knowingly or unknowingly, you have that ability to be like, we're on the path to writing it. Here's what we already did to try to write it.
That's the biggest thing. Like, if even as an individual, as an org, if you do make a mistake, it's just immediately saying like, oh, this is what happened. This
we
was
messed
on
up.
us.
Here's how we're gonna fix it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Straight out the gate. Just be forward about it, and that's what a lot of people.
Legally, maybe that's not the best thing. Maybe you have lawyers say deny till we can fix it. No, never. That's not the right case to go unless it's something super serious. If somebody ran off with all your money or something, okay, yeah. You say like, no, we totally have the money until you're talking with the lawyer like, how the hell do we get our money back? Like, this dude just ran off with $80K. What do we do?
Freak out.
Yeah, just scream is probably the right thing. But scream in private. So nobody knows you're screaming.
That one meme where everything is fine.
And I'll be Tanya.
Oh, the burning down house.
Yep.
This is fine.
Like, this is everything. It's fine.
I think that's the goal. We got to set up the community stuff. Take care of some smaller things, merch.
Social media is going to be super
media,
important.
That's coming along.
That's the biggest thing for us, a brand to grow in general, is to have a really powerful social media presence. And you see a lot of that happen just in general. Like, people will get like retweets from one person that goes into another person, or they'll get likes from Instagram that goes from one person to another person. And like that's just the biggest thing that I've seen from brands or individuals. As soon as they get one Twitter pop off.
Yeah, it's about visibility and having something that somebody can look at and immediately understand. You don't need any other context. You see one video and you're like, okay, I get it. Yep. I know what this is.
Like somebody that I've seen a lot from, Paladin Amber. I can't remember her name exactly. She's followed by somebody who I follow, and her tweets have just been getting blown up from her Twitch stream. Like, she'll post like maybe a minute and a half clip, and it's just something like incredibly funny.
And then it'll explode. And
yep, and it just goes from there.
Kind of the way that I found Gary Vaynerchuk, the business dude, who's, I mean,
he's
invested with Minnesota COD. Yeah. He comes off as like super abrasive sometimes. He's got like okay, you're not ready to take the step to actually be super successful? Okay, well, fuck you. All right, this isn't for you. Like, you've already admitted that you're going to lose anyway, so I don't need to talk to you. And so every time you click on one of his videos, you're like, wow, this guy's angry or very, very, very passionate and just kind of looks like anger. But in reality, he is like doing things behind the scenes to make sure that people are succeeding at his company, elsewhere. He's putting people in contact with each other. He's giving away money to fans before, like,
so yeah,
I think he's done scholarships and stuff and like paid for tuition and things. And I'm like, bro, that's like, you see one video where he's like, listen, you need to be focused on this one thing, and you're like, man, fuck that guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But in reality, it's like, how could he not? He's a literal billionaire. He didn't get there off of telling other people that they didn't know what they were talking about, necessarily. Because he didn't need to say, oh, well, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He went and proved it. Like, if you've got the idea, that's your brand now. Like, if you are that guy like Gary is, and you make a lot of money and you know how to do that thing, that's the way you go about it. In esports, I could say all day, like, oh, FaZe or TSM or whoever, you know, not taking shade at any of those guys, but saying, like, oh, they're not doing this right. They're not running an esports org correctly. But if I'm sitting at a kitchen table talking about it with two of my friends, and ultimately not taking any steps towards it, then our brand is going to be a bunch of guys who never actually did anything. Which, I mean, time will tell on that. But that's the kind of market you're dealing with. It's like, you see a podcast like this, like, well, what do these guys know? Currently, we know a lot, but we haven't proved it yet.
Yeah.
But if you put out content that's saying, like, we're doing things the right way, we're doing things with integrity, and then you actually go and do them,
it's like, oh shit, okay.
2 years from now, you're going to be like, oh shit, these guys actually knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, they're not complete, full of shit. Oh, not bad.
And that's going to be the difference, ultimately, is if we can go out and prove the things that we're saying right now, which we're already on the road to. Nick and I have worked out a pretty nice little, like, I would say
roadmap.
6-month plan, roadmap.
That's going to be super important.
So we may not have, like, the past that completely sorted out, but you never know what's going to change in 6 months. So
hopefully really great things. Sorry, I heard my computer go, and I was like, oh god, I hope the audio just didn't crash. Oh man, it's gonna be important to keep a long-term plan, short-term plans or short-term goals, and then turn them into long-term goals, and then
yeah, because we have like
career.
This week
goals.
We already have a layout. Next week we know what that kind of looks like,
and we just keep
and
going.
Then we can flip that for the month, and then if that goes well, we'll reevaluate at the end of the month of content and say what worked, what didn't, what do we need to change, what can we improve on. Okay, cool, and then you implement that into that leading up ultimate like 6-month path that we've kind of already got developed. And even outside of content with merch and finding new people to work on things, like all of that is coming together. And as I said earlier, it's going to seem a little slow at first, but you have to take things
step by step,
and really carefully plan it out. Because if you're just shooting like, hey, Mitchell, do you want to do this? Okay, cool. Hey, Nick, do you want to do this? Okay, cool. Hey, guy next door, you want to do this? Cool. Never come back to your house? Okay. All right.
Hey, Mr. Jenkins down the street. What?
Mrs. Martha?
Do you want to do content?
Do you want to do a podcast?
What the hell are you kids talking about?
Podcast. Wrong. Sorry, I had the wrong kind of filming in mind. That's my bad. Ooh. Past life experiences. Anywho,
tough.
Things are being done. We are taking the steps to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And again, we have to prove that we're actually going to do it. But I think we got a pretty good start.
That's the most important thing. Getting everything settled out as we come along.
Some could say we've laid the groundwork. Anyway.
Hey.
I think it's a good stopping point.
That's the name of the thing.
The thing. He said the thing.
It's fireworks. Mic drop.
Logan, where's the... If I can figure out how to do that, call me Logan V2.
Logan's so good at what he does.
I swear, I hope to one day be like a percentile as good as he is.
Yeah, that would be...
Yes.
Just a dream. Just a full on
there too.
I swear.
But yeah, I think we're good, right?
I think that's good for the podcast. I think it's good for the podcast. We've hit about...
It's 6:30.
We've been going for about, from the recording, about an hour or so, with some other time. Besides.
Yeah, what's the time cut out? It's probably about an hour. So yeah, I think that's good.
Give or take. So, thank you all for coming and listening to the podcast. This has been RevoltCast episode 2. We will be back with some more content coming up soon.
And if you didn't catch the first one, it's on the channel. Go find it. If you want reminders about it, go follow us on social media. RevoltAgainst GG on Twitter and Instagram.
Instagram is the same, yep.
Okay, cool. We'll have clips from the podcast. We'll have clips from our content throughout the week that'll go up on Instagram. I'm sure the links will tweet out on Twitter as well. We'll be acknowledging any interactions we get on Twitter. So if you have questions, if you have things you'd like to see, come find us there. Tweet at us. We'd love to hear them.
Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell so that way you will always be notified whenever we do upload. I do that with all my channels, and they go to my phone even whenever I don't want them to. And then I'm like, oh my god, I can watch this for later. So always a good thing to do.
Do we have a MySpace?
We can get a MySpace.
Are we bringing MySpace back, boys?
We should bring whenever this all works out and it's fine and dandy, we should get a MySpace. Yeah.
MySpace.
Next week, we're bringing MySpace back.
Hashtag bring MySpace back. All right. Thank you all for listening. Y'all have a nice day. Stay classy.